Hi, you guys. I'm Sara Naslund, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in June, I think. But I'm so pumped that while we're all kind of cooped up at home, that I could connect with you guys and meet you a little bit beforehand. So I'm Sara Naslund, and I work in an Aveda lifestyle salon. I work about 3 days a week behind the chair, so I still do cutting and coloring and all of that. And then I have my own bridal on-site styling business, which kind of keeps me busy. And then on the weekends, I'm part of the North American Artistic Team, and I travel education all over North America, hopefully more places sooner, but so far just North America. I'm trying to get that ticket to Australia. But right now I don't have any jobs, but we'll have more jobs soon. So I'm going to show you guys a half updo because what I kind of anticipate happening is I have like weddings canceling right now because obviously, and I think that a lot of people are going to have to kind of pull it together to be able to do updos because we're going to need your help because I can't do all the reschedules. And I think that kind of getting you guys prepped now is going to be perfect. And I also think that even if you're still in school, right when you get out, like what tends to happen is you do kind of get thrown into the updo world because you're available. And a lot of people decide early on that they don't feel like doing it. So this will be a perfect way to start making money behind the chair pretty immediately, which is awesome. So, okay, I'm going to show you guys a half updo, and my face is not going to be in it, but myself will be. So here's my girl, Nadine. Oh, so we're going to do a half updo, and then we're going to transition her to a whole updo because sometimes that happens. So I gave her shampoo today. I use my very expensive Damage Remedy daily Damage Remedy conditioner on her because she really kind of needed it. And then I kind of blew her out with a little bit of the Brilliant Universal Styling Cream because she was getting kind of ratty. And then I just kind of like pre-curled a lot of her because when it comes to a half updo, like you can't get away with not curling it, even though it's kind of like not my thing. Like I don't usually like to curl the whole head, but when it comes to half updo, you have no choice. So I'll show you my sectioning real quick. Well, actually, let me show you this first. Okay. So when it comes to volume, here's her face. Here's her beautiful face. When it comes to volume, it's not about how much you back comb. It's about where the placement of your sectioning is. So basically, if you want to see height from the front, that hair that you back comb has to come from the top of the head. So if you section a little bit too far back, this hair is just going to get kind of big this way. It's not going to get big this way. And I think when people ask for volume, they actually want to see it, but their eyes are down here. So for them to be able to see volume that's up here, it kind of has to be like a little bit higher so they can actually see it. So the way that you kind of figure that out is you can put the comb on the top of the head. And so, this is the top. This is the apex. If you section the front away from the back, any further behind the top of the head, you won't see volume from the front. So you kind of like figure out where's the top. Okay, here's the top. And then I would do a zigzag section, which I already have. Let me see if I can, piece from my back. A little zigzag section. So it's not super regular because what happens is, when we're doing all this like color and cutting, like the sections are so perfect. But when it comes to styling, you don't want a lot of lines. So same thing over here. Let's see. Here's the top of the head, kind of zigzag it away. And I did pre-section this for you guys. But I would just be kind of like taking my comb and going like this. And I like to use duckbill clips because you probably already have like a million of them and they don't leave marks in the hair. So if I put one there, if I put it here, it's not going to leave like a big mark in the hair. Okay. So you can see that I did not curl this already because I'm going to create some volume up here. And my cat's going to meow any moment. He's a very loud meower. So he's going to sound like he's in pain, but he's fine. So when you are creating volume in the hair, do you see how this is like kind of like a rounded section? You should be able to put your hands around the section. So you should be able to kind of put your hands around it. If you can't fit your fingers around it, then likely your section is too big. This should be less than half of the back of the head, and it should be well above the occipital. So my occipital is about here, and then you want to be above occipital. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little zigzag section. Clip this away. You're going to elevate, over direct, and you're going to back comb. So when you back comb, you want to use a comb, first of all. Comb, get it, back comb. So you're going to elevate, over direct, put a comb through. See how it's like fully through? And then push. And so if you back comb and nothing happens, it's just like, oh, sorry, nothing happens, you would add a grip product. So something I would add is like air control. Where is it? But you can kind of see she's got a little bit of kind of like texture going on. So I don't need to add anything for now. And then you're going to flat iron your back comb. And then let it chill, like literally let it chill. Let's see. I'm hooked up in wires over here. Okay. I'm going to show you from the other side. So her face is here. And I'm creating volume in the hair. And if you're short, I would stand here. Because it's really hard to back comb on this side or to push it forward and back comb when you're standing behind. So if you can't reach it, you have her like look way down. That will bring the top to you. So elevate, over direct, put your comb all the way through and push. And then you flat iron right over the top of that back comb. So we're setting the back comb in place. You'll kind of notice that if you just back comb and then you try to brush over it, you're kind of brushing over this like hard rock of hair, and it doesn't look cool and effortless. It looks like, I don't know, some sort of like 80s prom situation or 90s prom situation. So this will give like more of that elevate or effortless and very chill look. And then you can also create texture on it. So literally let it chill. So the very last section, I would do nothing to that because otherwise you're going to get this texture showing through. You're going to take your mini paddle brush. It's so cute. And you're going to brush out your back comb 100% completely. I would brush up because that's how you're encouraging the hair to be. And do you see how I'm getting that volume? And it's super effortless and chill. So because I backcombed, I flat ironed, and I brushed out completely, I have like this volume that I want, but also I can do anything to it. Like if I want to braid this, I can braid it. If I want to curl it, I can curl it. I'm just kind of looking at some of the, this is a good mannequin. This mannequin's probably about $200. But you can curl it if you want to curl it. So the idea is that, let's see, what do you prefer to curl with? What are your go-to products for updos? Okay. I'm going to try to get to some questions while we're doing it, and I'll get to all the rest at the ends. So texture and volume are two completely different things, because volume is a shape and a largeness, and you can do shape and largeness in curly and you can do it in straight. So when you are doing your technique for volume, you cannot curl for volume, you curl for texture, you do a technique for volume. So this is our technique for volume. And then I'm just going to kind of go over this section because I want it to match the rest of it. So I'm using a flat iron to curl. The big advantage to using a flat iron to curl is that, let me see, I lost the comb. Here we go. You get to keep the length because it's not like super bouncy. It's more like wavy and chill. So you won't take the length away, especially if you have somebody that really doesn't have a lot of length. You really don't want to sacrifice that to the curl, because curl makes hair shorter. So if I wanted a little bit more curl, I might, use a curling iron or a curling wand. But when I'm curling with the flat iron, this is a T3. I like it. I got it at the Nordstrom rack. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3 rotations and then push down. And don't like clamp the ever living life out of it. Like let it be chill. So my go-to products for updos definitely depend on the hair. So I don't know if you can like really see, like her hair I use her a lot. Like this is my same mannequin that I use a lot on the road. So I tend to use a lot of smoothing products, but I think it's like, what do you want your end result to be? So, and what is the hair giving you? So if I was doing somebody's hair and like mine, right? I've got obviously an entire head of lightener. So if I add grip products, so any kind of grip product would be a product that adds hold to the hair. So it's hairspray, it's gel, it's mousse. That's going to continue to add grip and hold to the hair. But I already have a lot of grip in my hair because of color. So if you have an over, like too much grip, that's when it ends up being fuzzy. Like everybody always uses hairspray for updos, but then what's their number one issue? Flyaways, right? If you have flyaways and you add hairspray, like you're just going to tell the flyaways, like, stay where you are. So if I had hair that was like super healthy, just like thick, like wants to have a relationship with the floor, like it's just like super floppy, I would then maybe use a product that has grip, because that's what you lack. So it's kind of like in color, like, in color, it's like you get the natural remaining pigment and it's like you either like it or you don't like it. So you have to deal with what you have, and you can choose to enhance, neutralize, or refine. So it's the same in updos. Like for this hair, because I shampooed her today and I gave her a nice blow dry with the Brilliant Universal Styling Cream. I'll be able to put a little bit of extra grip or hairspray into her because she's nice and soft and clean. I think that if you had too much grip, you would want to neutralize it with slip or go the other way. Does that kind of make sense? Anybody can hold a curl, but not everybody will keep a curl. So if I have somebody, so I think there was a question, how do I handle hair types that don't hold a curl? You can, first I ask them, does your hair hold a curl? Because then they give me the answer. You know, it's like, if I asked you, does your hair hold a curl? And then you say no, and your hair doesn't hold a curl, like it's not magic. One thing that I would do is add a product that has hold. So things that I love is like a little, if you put emollient on dry hair, because grip products hold different on dry hair than they do in wet hair because they don't have the water to dilute them. So if you put a grip product like hairspray or volumizing tonic or thickening tonic or emollient, or one thing that I love is the men's liquid pomade is awesome in dry hair, like a little bit, right? Run that through, and then when you curl, you have some hold in there. So it's like, why did you flat iron your back comb? Because that is setting the, when I flat iron my back comb, that's what sets the volume. So then I can still have volume and I can still move this around. You see all those videos, they're all like, you can't do that if you have a hard rock right there. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of loosely come at this, just because I don't want to fully break up that curl yet. Let's see. How do you get a lot of half updo requests or whole updos? People are going to want a half updo because they like their hair down, but they want something fancy. Okay, you're going to take your fingers, you're going to make a crown. You're going to go right on her crown section. Here it is. Here's the crown. And then you're going to zigzag that section out. So it's basically the same section that we just back comb, flat iron, brushed out completely. So I don't know if you can see, it's like hard. Do you see how I'm getting like a lot of like maybe flyaways? Can you see it? I don't know if you can see the flyaways. So if I'm getting like a little bit messy, I'm gonna go with a slip product. So I'm gonna use the heat relief because it's actually a slip product. And that will kind of smooth that section down. And then I'm just gonna take 2 little duckbill clips and hold it together. What happens a lot of times is people like start with a ponytail right here, but you notice if you start with a ponytail right there, all of the density of the hair is in the middle, and then you have 2 like thin and dark spots. So if you pin this going across the back, it's going to fill in this whole space. So we're going to use bobby pins, and bobby pins are only strong when they're closed. So if you have pins in your updo that are open, it's not a strong pin and it's going to want to come out. So the idea is to try to keep the pins as closed as possible, but we want to connect them. So if you connect your bobby pins in an X, one is actually open. If you want them connected, but you want them to both be closed, you're going to connect them more like a V. Let's see, space. So this way they're both actually closed and they're connected and strong. So what you're going to do to create a row or spine or backbone of pins, you're going to take your pin. You're going to open it, hold it in the middle. You're going to press on the head, insert your pin, close it, slide it across. Let's see. I don't know if getting closer is helpful. Let's see. What comb are you using? No, clean, dry hair. Don't let them bring their dirty hair to you. It's gross. Second thing is I have product that makes the hair exactly how I want it. I don't want their natural product, oil from their scalp, to be kind of messing with my hair. So clean, dry hair. Second thing, what kind of comb are you using? I got this comb at Sally's. It is approximately $2. It's the best comb ever. And then, is your flat iron on high heat for creating curls? For her, yes, because she's a mannequin, but I consider, like, would you use the same ironing setting on all of your clothes? Some would melt. So I would adjust the temperature of the hot tool for every single person. So see how I'm hooking onto my previous pin? And then my last one is going to go the opposite way to seal it. And then you can take these guys out. And I don't know if you guys can see that really. So if you want more volume, all you do is kind of take your comb and pull up a little bit. If you want to get a little bit of texture, you can take your little pinchers, start in the middle, and work your way out. And then you work your way up. So if this was a big ball of flat iron or a back comb, you wouldn't be able to pinch or adjust this at all. So to kind of set this a little bit, I would use a grip product. When you're kind of like between, like, I would say you're between like these ones, Air Control will leave a film. Brilliant, which I'm like down to like the littlest amount. But the Brilliant hairspray is actually going to make it piecey, shiny, and a little bit more polished. So that's kind of what I would do. Yeah, I hold the bobby pins just so that, like, because you're basically flossing the hair between the bottom where it's free and the top where it's not, because the bobby pins are holding it in place. So I would kind of like give the bobby pins a hold. So I'm not moving the bobby pins around. I just want to be moving that hair around. Okay, so I parted our girl in the middle just because it makes everything like super even. But if you had a side part, you would start on the heavy side. So I'm going to release the front. And, you know, a lot of people don't know exactly what they want when it comes to an updo. Let's see, I'm checking it on time. Oh, doing good on time. So they're going to be kind of making decisions as you're doing it. So it kind of sucks because you want to be able to just do it, but they don't know things. So you have to ask, you're having a big question and conversation while you're working. Like, do you like this? Do you not like this? If I do this, are you going to like it? And also be prepared for the fact that, like, they're going to say, yes, I want that. And then they're going to say, well, actually, no, I don't. So, I mean, it's part of life. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to start, like, do you want to have hair down in the front? Right? So if she wants to have hair down in the front, I would say, like, oh, like this much. And she's like, I don't know, that's a lot. It's too much. So then you're like, maybe like this much. Okay, she'll start there, kind of whatever it is. So just kind of choose. And, if I know that she asked for this much, like, and then maybe she wants to pin that back later, my feelings aren't hurt. Here's your sectioning. You're going to do a diagonal forward section. So from the center out down to the recession. It's like bangs. And you're going to start with the top first. Always start with the shortest hair first. Because guess what? If I start down here, like, where am I going to put this? It's short. If this only reaches to here because it was bangs that's been growing out, I have all of this hair to cover up all of my bobby pins. So the other thing is, for people getting a half updo, you don't really know where the half is. Like, is it here? Like this could be their half updo. Or maybe you can take a little bit extra. This is their half updo. Or maybe this is their half updo. Or maybe they even kind of take it back a little bit. So you want to be able to kind of do it incrementally so that you don't run out of time and you can kind of stop where they want it. So my first section will be diagonal forward. Let's see okay. And then I like to pin it, like, that way you can say, do you like it? Like, because they're looking at themselves. You can rock all this in the back, but to them, an updo is this. If you like nail the front, they will forgive all of this. Let's see. Do you like working with hair accessories? Yeah, because it's like extra fun if a client came in with the image of what she wants. Back and forth. So the question is, like, if she came in with an image, I think it just depends if it works for her. Is it possible, first of all? And is it going to look good on her? Like, I always buy a pencil, like anytime I've ever bought a pencil skirt in my whole life, I'm like looking at the girl online. She looks so super cute. I think I'm going to look like that, but I don't. I look like a weird dress up office 80s lady. Right? Like, even I've got like friends, they wear like cute, like ripped up, tied in the front band t-shirts and like Converse, and they've got their like pencil skirt. Like, I just look ridiculous. And people will come in like that, like, because Pinterest is like, giving them all these ideas. And they think that they want it because it looks good online. But then when you put that outfit on, it doesn't really work. So if they did come in with dirty hair, would you wash it? It depends, because sometimes it is too dirty to style. And the option would be to do a sleeker style or add a blow dry. So do a blow dry and an updo, or just do the blow dry. It depends on what you have time for. It's a hard one. The thing is, dirty hair is better is so 90s. Like, think about how it worked in the 90s. First of all, grunge, right? Your hair is dirty. You're living that grunge life. And then when it came time for prom, which first of all, nobody wants 90s updo prom anymore. What we would do is we would slick it up with all that dirt into a ponytail, subdivide a piece out, spray it with hairspray, curl it until the sizzle stops, then take your curling iron out, spray it again, and it's like super crunchy, and then slap it back into the ponytail. So think about like how you wear your hair when it's dirty. Is that what is trending? Like, it's not. Like, effortless, beautiful. Like, I just put my hair up to wash my face and it looks like a beautiful updo. Have you ever had a client ask for a style you couldn't do? I've been at it for a little while. So again, how we're going to work this is we have this pin. We're going to replace it with our bobby pin and then release. And then I'm going to look for my comb. Okay. And then second side. diagonal forward. It's basically like bangs. Kind of bring it back to wherever it reaches. Pin it where you like it. That way you can kind of adjust, and you can even like walk around because you're kind of tacking it down. You guys ever sew? Like when you sew, you don't just take two pieces of fabric, you smash them together and like run them through the sewing machine. You take your straight pins and then you kind of hold it together with something. So this is kind of like the pin that holds it together. How do I keep up on trends? Well, social media is here for us, right? So I think it's like cool because before it's like we used to have these like ugly magazines with these like weirdo hairstyles, and you're like, you know, giving them to your guests, and your guest is like, I don't want that. And you're like, good, because I'm not going to do that because it's ugly. So I mean, I definitely like will pretend to be a bride or pretend to be like a bridesmaid or a prom girl, and I think, what would they Google in Pinterest? And I go in and I Google that, because guess what? That's where they're looking. If I know where they're looking, I can anticipate what they're going to ask for so I can prepare. I spend, probably, I would say $2,000 a year on education for myself, just to kind of keep up. So, you know, I always try to take some styling, a lot of business lately. And then, you know, sometimes I'll do haircut and color. I was supposed to go to hair camp, but that got canceled because April. I have a couple of people that come with me, and they're trained by me. I've got my girl Danielle and my girl Katie. And then sometimes like they'll do like whole updos. Sometimes they'll do like half updos. Oh, look, the sun came out. And then sometimes they'll just prep by doing like curling if I need curling, and like the back comb, flat iron, brush out completely, sectioning kind of thing. Okay, so if this is exactly how she wants it and the front is how she wants it, right, we would have to like cover these pins up. So you could take like a little piece from right here and you can kind of cover it this way. But I'm going to kind of continue onward. So depending on, you know, your person, you're going to think like some people like hair in front of the ear. So you would kind of take a diagonal this way. Let's see, do a real diagonal. So I still have hair in front of the ear, and I'm going to come back like this. And this like helps me to make sure that she likes it from the front, because she's still like looking from a mirror, looking at a mirror. Even if she's not looking at a mirror, she's probably like looking at herself in her phone. Is there a technique that you're going to do while doing updos that you are your go-to? My go-to is back comb, flat iron, brush out completely. So then I'm going to start twisting this across those pins, and it's going to look like a worm, and that's okay. I'm getting tacked down here. I'm going to stab this across the grain of the hair. You really do need to kind of get down. Stab this. See how it's like it would stay even if I took my hand off, and then cross the grain of the hair. And then usually once in the middle, stab, cross the grain. Then this is free to go. Can you guys see okay since the sun came out? And then if you want, you can kind of pinch this apart a little bit. But when I pinch it apart, it starts to become unstable. So that's when I would come back to a grip product. And notice I started at the end and I worked my way this way. Then if I want more, so I'm going to do the same thing on the second side. Diagonal forward, so I still get some of that ear coverage because people are weird. bring 3 pins over with me. I can tack it down so that way she knows exactly what she's going to look like in the front. And then you can twist this around. You can go over, you can go under, it doesn't matter. So, and see how it's like so wormy? Like, because it hasn't pulled it out yet. So you're going to get down to the scalp and then cross the grain of the hair. So consider all of the grain of the hair is running this way. So when my bobby pin crosses the grain of the hair, I'm like hooking into the most hairs, right? So all the hairs are coming this way, and then my bobby pin is crossing. So I'm hooking into the most hairs as opposed to kind of if I was going whichever way. So I'm coming over here, I'm getting down to that scalp, and then I'm crossing the grain of the hair. And it holds because you're making a circle when you twist it. So you're kind of getting like in the middle of that to be able to get all those hairs. And then one in the middle. So I think about if I was gonna tack a poster on the wall, I would want to tack the corner, and then also the middle. So when I'm tacking this hair across the head, I want to tack the corner, and also in the middle. And so now I can kind of come over here and start to pull that apart. So this is like 80% of bridesmaids. Sometimes it's a braid. And see how this is feeling a little floppy to me? I can add another pin. Silky hair, use grip products. If it's already giving you smooth and slip, you have to counterbalance it with grip. I can take this guy out. And if this makes you feel weird, I'm going to show you a little trick. And I'm going to check on time for myself. Okay, doing pretty good. This is a topsy tail. You can just pop that right on down through. So if you feel like you need a little bit more structure to hold this, that's when I would come to hairpins. So you're going to get a lot of different advice in your career. In my opinion, there is no one correct way. It's the way that works for you or whoever is like offering you the advice. So I start with bobby pins when I'm putting something, when I'm trying to hold something to the scalp. And then when I'm trying to create structure or give hold or support within the updo. So this would be the updo. That's when I move to hairpins. A lot of people are vice versa. In the end, like, you guys are your own person. So try stuff out, and like if it works, like works for you, like that's the way that is the correct way. There's no correct way to do anything. There is advice, there's experience, and I'm offering it to you. So it's kind of like today, like I'm cooking you guys dinner. So today you're eating what I'm what I'm cooking, but when you borrow my like recipe, like you don't have to do it exactly how I do it. So that's kind of like how I feel about styling. So I'm going to continue going down the updo world for this. So, you could have had, pieces, whatever. I'm going to take the last kind of piece. So that's the side piece. So if it's getting messy, if it's getting, sticky, add a slip product like the heat relief. If it's floppy, if it's too silky, add a grip product like air control. so. And if you have somebody that doesn't have that much hair, these are the cutest. They're like little shorties. I get all my pins at Sally's. They're the Meta Grip pins. They're awesome. They stay forever. They're strong. Pin to the scalp, across the grain. Good here. If you want one in the middle, to the scalp, across the grain. You can pull it out a little bit. So you can see it's kind of just like the same thing over and over again, which makes it seem complicated, but really it's not. Got my clip. To the scalp, across the grain. To the scalp, across the grain. To the scalp, across the grain. And then you can pull it apart a little bit. And you have to kind of find your inner esthetician and just like pick at it. Yeah, so I do work with extensions. How do I reduce frizz? Add slip. If her hair is frizzy, if the hair is frizzy, I would be using Control Paste. Even though it's a grip product, technically, it does have a slip to it. I would be using the humectant pomade. And if these were too heavy for somebody, I will be using the Heat Relief because it's like super light. And then if they had hair that was super silky, I would kind of go into Air Control, Texture Tonic. And then if you were really feeling crazy, Control Force. Okay, let's see. Do you like working with extensions? Where do you seek? Yes, I do work with extensions. I love the Sally's extensions. And here's the thing. If your guest does not have extensions and they're thinking about using extensions, you can send them to Sally's and they can like match their color on the spot. And I tell them go a little bit lighter in terms of like picking their color because I can always, I wouldn't really color them all over. I would usually low light or do like a toner. So then it's like really easy for them and they don't have to make like a huge investment. Also the Sally's the Weft, I'll show you. So this is the Sally's extensions that I colored with Vibrance. You can actually see like it's almost like a tape-in, like how like flat that is, even though it is a clip-in. So I think like these are great. So you could always put those in first. And I think I've got some on my Instagram. Oh yeah, follow my big hair day. Where you can see these exact extensions in this literal updo. Okay, so you've got this boho situation going on. If you wanted to turn this into a whole updo, where do you seek your continuous styling education with bridal styling? I took Sharon Blaine's boot camp. Sharon Blaine is like an amazing woman. She's like probably in her 70s. Like she travels the world doing styling education. And honestly, like it was a lot of back to basics. Like, I was talking the other day, I was like, the basics will always lift you up. They will never let you down. So a lot of advanced education really is kind of getting back to the basics. Like we spent a whole day doing a whole head of like pin curls. Love it. Bring me back. Okay. If you want to start turning this into an updo, You can do one or two, and I'm just going to do one because I only have like 12-ish minutes left. You can start bringing that whole bottom part into a ponytail. And these are, like when it comes to little elastics, these are like the, these are equestrian elastics. These are like office elastics. No, it's like backwards, this thing. So I'm going to use the office elastics today. They're literally like what you would use for, you know, to put some markers together or something. I wouldn't use them on a regular basis. Like, she shouldn't be using them in her hair from day to day. Get a little full, like use a scrunchie or something. This is for special occasion only because it is too grippy to use all the time. Okay. And then since this was the end of my last piece, I'm just going to add a little clip so that I don't accidentally pull it apart. So I've got these doubled up. And you want this to be a super strong ponytail. So that way, when you kind of squeeze this, it doesn't go anywhere. If you squeeze your ponytail and it's like floppy, like it moves, you need to go tighter. So if I had not curled this, I would kind of twist it all in the same direction. But since I did curl this, I'm not going to mess with it too much. Do you see like I've got like mad grip going on naturally in the hair? So I'm going to add a little bit of the heat relief just to kind of give it a little bit more polish. And I have a lot of texture going on up here, right? So I need a lot of texture going on down here. I'm going to finish it off with another elastic. And we'll talk about this when I come to hang out with you guys. But think about if I didn't add this elastic, how many bobby pins would it take to do this? I would need a bunch. But because I have one single elastic, I have so much more hold because I don't have to get too many pins kind of in here. So your bobby pins, you want to be on this side of the elastic, not the tail side. And then you just kind of like do a thing. So I would go kind of corner, corner. So even though it's a bun, it's a rainbow, right? Corner, corner. And you just hide this guy underneath. So then you just kind of like play with it. Don't worry about these guys. We've got our boho on. And instead of holding it like this, entirely the guests didn't like it. How would you handle that situation? If you ask them questions as you work, you won't get to the end without knowing. So I would say, oh, do you want me to keep going? Do you want more? Do you like this height? Do you like it in the front? In the end, if she was like, I hate it, I hate everything about it, I would just say, okay, we can do it again. And I would just do it again. Because if you have steps, it's very fast. So you would have time. All right, let's see if we can finish this up in the last 9 minutes. Don't worry about these things. They stress people out, but don't worry about it. So instead of holding this like a basket, use your fingertips to press to the head in individual spaces. Wherever you have your finger, you're going to add your bobby pin, get down to the scalp, cross the grain of the hair, get to the scalp, cross the grain of the hair. Now, I'm not done, but with 2 pins, I'm able to say, okay, I can deal. And then you can just kind of like roll your fingers around on it, like where do I need to add a bobby pin? Like maybe I need one right here. You're getting to the scalp and you're crossing the grain of that hair. You know, maybe you like stuff like this. You know, you're kind of like talking to them, you're like figuring it out. You know, can you guys see that? So maybe that's a thing. Let's work on the side. You can find any small tails, which sometimes they look kind of cute hanging out. So that could be your decision. How long does an updo usually take me? I book for 45 minutes, but sometimes it takes me like 20 and I have to be like, so after you kind of get things where you want them, that's when you can add hairpins. And I'm not really necessarily trying to go into the scalp. I'm more of like adjusting the body of the updo. And if you find that your pin is poking out on the other side, you see, I don't know if you can see it, you can bend your pin a little bit. So then you can decide if you like these guys or you want to kind of pull them in. And the best way to pull these in is with the topsy tail, if I can find it. Check out what the other side looks like. For an updo, it starts at 120. But my rent is very scary. So any tails you have going on, you can just pull those back. I want you guys to see. So those were my little tails that were kind of sticking out here. And just arrange it around. Do you guys have any other questions for now? So see this long guy, I'm just going to continue to weave them back and forth because I don't want that hanging out around. We've got 5 minutes. Let's see, did I get stuck on something? Here we go. So after you finally are happy with it, you know, you get everything kind of going on, I would go slip thin grip, honestly. So slip. This is the heat relief. Because that allows you to like slide your comb around anywhere that you want. The light really changed during this whole thing. You know, and you can kind of pull stuff out if you want to. But I would go incrementally because you don't want to pull things out and then you have to kind of backtrack. That's when I would kind of use my pins to, you know, get everything exactly where I want it. I guess this is there we go. Is that better? Arranging things. And I would finish with Brilliant. So I'm doing a lot of tutorials right now because I'm in the house. So if you want, you guys can join me like over on Instagram because I'm there all the time. And of course, like if she wanted little pieces, she could have had little pieces. It's really about what she wants. But I hope you guys learned a little something, and you know, it's so adjustable. So you can just kind of start wherever you start, and you can kind of build. So we'll kind of talk about a lot of that stuff later. Let's see. I feel like there's one piece that's bugging me. All right, let's see. 2 minutes. Last call for questions. You're welcome, you guys. Yeah, you always have to check the angles. Like right now I'm looking at like, this part's a little bit weird. So a way that you can check all the angles is to take your phone out and take a little video. Because sometimes when you're looking at it with your eyes, you can't see all the stuff. So if you take like a little, like, you know, 15-second video, then you can really find where your flaws are. Like I had this girl and she had like the flower garden in her hair, and I thought that all the flowers were kind of there, but when I took the little video with my phone, I realized that there was like one white flower like sticking out. So I just had to like mash that in. And the other thing is, if you show them your little video or one quick photo on your phone before you give them the mirror, it tricks their brain into believing that you nailed it, because it's really hard for the guest to bring you something flat and glowing, one-dimensional, to then go between two mirrors in 3D in a weird spatial thing. So when they bring you phone and you deliver them back phone, it looks the same, then give them the mirror. But honestly, concentrate on this, and I will see you guys in June. Yeah, so let me know if there's anything. So reach out on Facebook, or not Facebook, I'm never on Facebook. Reach out on Instagram if you need anything or have any other questions, you guys. And thanks for having me.